Good afternoon. Short update on where we're at with the breeding season. Humidity here is 63%. We've got a few birds on eggs now. We've got some that are hatched. We've got some that are still building. It's always the way. I've got some that are about to jump out of the nest, which I'll show you in a minute. Some youngsters. So we've got various stages, and you start them off at the same time. What you think's the time you want to start them off, and inevitably some go earlier than others, and some just don't go at all. But we've got everything down now that we want. There's a couple just still building a nest over there. This pair here, which a couple of cobalts. They've started building. I need to put a bit more nesting material in there because they're like using it up. Like I say, a few pairs laying and some well advanced with chicks. I've not taken any eggs away this year. Everything hatched is being reared. Here there's a couple of you can see, you just take your ribs there. A couple of white agate opals chicks in there. Get it there, so it's focusing on the bars. Perhaps, we'll just open this up. There we go, don't want to spook them out of the nest yet, but they've been on the edge of the nest a few times. And she's built again over here, another nest. She's got a couple of eggs in the other side. No problems, no plucking. Something I learnt from Rob Braddock, a little tip he sent out was, I sort of partly built that nest. I virtually built the whole nest when she wanted to go down again. That seems to stop the plucking. They've got somewhere where they feel safe to roost, so they're not bothering her in the nest. So I'm not going to petition anything off yet. I'll just keep an eye on it, close eye on it, morning and the evening. Make sure everything's fine there. Got the petitions ready if I need them, but I see a lot of Italian breeds that they don't bother separating anything off, and whilst everything's fine, leave them be. And I've seen the male bird treading the female as well, so hopefully we'll have some in the next round for that. Some fertile eggs in there. I didn't expect there to be any fertile eggs here, I'll be honest. When I put nest pans in and birds together, she was laying when she partly built the nest, and I hadn't seen anything tread. And she laid 5 eggs and only 2 were fertile. I guess that explained it. So I just let them go. But they've reared the 2. They look really healthy. I've got them on Raggio Disol egg food, TH White, extra dry. I mix that with a bit of water. I don't put any soap seed or any additives or anything in it. The only additives I'm using is Calci Lux from Versalaga in the water. They've got 3 different doses, one for sort of maintenance, 2 scoops per 250ml for the breeding season, and you can go up to 3 scoops if you think you've got any birds with calcium deficiency. It's a good product, put it in the water, it's quite simple. The birds are going to take it in. You can add it to the egg food or soft food, but the best way to make sure your birds are getting any additives like that is to put it through the water, really. There are other brands, as it were. This girl here, she's on 3 chicks. Have been agate opals again, whites. They've been rung. I'm not going to force them off the nest. I know some people do, but if they're off the nest, they're off the nest. I like to show you, and if they're not, they're not. I like to leave things be. Really, let them get on with it. They know best. As long as you provide the right conditions, they'll do the work. We've also got Unifeed breeding and Unifeed Vita. I don't put water in the Vita. I only offer the Vita when the chicks are about 4 days old. I just offer the egg food and the breeding up until then, and I just put it dry in the front hoppers. Birds are used to it, and it's fine then. I know they seem to eat it. Pass it on to the chicks, goes in the chicks' crop, digest it, no problem. So yeah, I don't like I say, I don't mess with egg food brands and stuff. You know, these companies have got sort of veterinary scientists that specialise in avian diets and what they need, and so if you look at the packet, they'll tell you when to use it, how to use it, And they're the sort of things I like to use, those products that give the scientific reasoning, what they're doing, the research. I don't make my own, I don't add things into something that's already been blended to have the right minerals, vitamins, proteins, fats, carbohydrates, whatever in it, because I'm not a veterinary scientist. I do see a lot of it, and I'm not telling people they're wrong. I like reasoning and logic behind things. It's the same with some of the cleaning products or mite treatments. If I can't go on the website and see what the active ingredient is and how it's killing the mite or killing the thing or treating the parasite or whatever it is, if they've got none of that information on the label, then for me it's witchcraft. But again, each to their own. If it works for you, it works for you. I'm just one of them people who likes to know why it works. And I'd advise anyone, if you say, oh, how to treat this, how to treat that, what dosage and things like that, don't just go on Facebook. Find the manufacturer's guidelines and instructions. I'm using X salt for mite treatment this year, but I haven't used it yet. And that's for the simple reason, if you go on their website, they say that you need to use it when the mites are active, and mites are most active consistently when the temperature's over 10 degrees. And so I'm going to do it on the second round. I'm going to put it, I keep checking, I haven't seen any red mite, not seen any northern mite or feather lice or anything like that. And I don't believe in using medicine, etc., or treatments for treatment's sake. But if you go on their website, it tells you how it works, and it means the mite has to be feeding to take it in. So if the mite is dormant and you do your treatment week 1, and then you're into your second treatment, it hasn't even had the first dose, won't have done anything because you won't have broken that first cycle, purely because the mite hasn't fed on it, so it hasn't took it in, and it acts really quick. So just, everyone says use this, use that, and that's fine, but you've still got to do your own research. And just because people say doses on there, if you look on a Facebook post, within 20 responses you'll get 10 different answers of what the dose is, when to do it, what to do with anything. People say use this to clear the gut, apple cider vinegar, whatever, and I'm not saying any of this stuff don't work, but don't just rely on what people tell you, because you could just be harming your birds and not achieving what you want to achieve. So just bear that in mind. It's just a bit of advice. Do your own research. If you look in here, we've got 5 yellow Isabel chicks, all doing well. They've all been rung. See, the humidity is right in here, so even when the droppings gather up in here, they dry up real quick, and I can just knock them off. Just take them once a day now. Just take that out, clean it all out. It takes literally seconds. Most of the stuff's dry, unless obviously you've done something fresh. And just clean it up, keep the nest clean as possible. I know that's one of the things that can happen with this style nest pan, but also it's really good. Birds feel secure, etc. I'm not taking any eggs away this year at all. It's the first year I've done this, and she sat from day 3. She started sitting, but I don't think she was incubating. She's just more, if it's a cold night or a cold day, she's just protecting the nest and everything. Now, those chicks there is a little bit difference, but even when you set them, you get a little bit of difference, because sometimes I generally find males tend to dominate even from nestlings, and get more of the food, but they're all being fed well, provided with the right conditions, and I think they don't really start incubating until they've laid their last egg properly. Other people will argue, but I've not dropped any eggs this year by messing about, and I've not put anything in the wrong nest, so we'll continue until I see otherwise. But everything's doing the same. Obviously I've got other style nest pans here. I'll just show you them when they're in the relaxed nests. They're quite good. They set them off the back of the cage, or you can hang them on the front, facing the other way obviously. Again, everything's dropping down off of there, clear of the nest mostly, but you can see how dry everything is. Same with that one there, and that's the dehumidifier is running. It says 55 on there, and then up here it says at the other end here we've got 63, but that's keeping everything nice. There's no drop-ins or anything accumulating when the birds have a bath. I reckon I've had a bit of a session there, putting all So she started the nest, pulls it out again, whatever. Get pairs like that. Anyway, I'll tidy that up in a minute. Yeah, as I was saying, the humidity, keeping it at a reasonable level, it just stops bacteria build up. It's pleasant in here. Have the window open, good airflow. When the birds have a bath, they can dry in a reasonable amount of time. So far, obviously, it's not really hot yet, but it's 17 degrees in here. I've got it all insulated to prevent the heat. Is my biggest thing. It's not the cold. It's not me heating the place. It's to keep the heat out as much as anything. Keep it in even temperature. So we'll see how it goes. Whether I need to put a humidifier, because this is a new shed for the later on in the breeding season, as we get into sort of second round and possibly third rounds. If it comes warm, I'll keep an eye on the humidity. I don't really want it to drop below 55. Obviously the humidifier is set and it cuts out anyway, but if it does, then I might have to stick some humidity in here to improve hatching. But I've had no dead in shell, I've had nothing struggling to get out, and like I say, everything's been reared, so I'm really happy with the diet. I chucked the odd millet sprays and bits in there as a treat as well. There's cuttlefish in there, even though I've got calcium supplement in the water, but not all the birds eat it. You know, some of the cockbirds are eating it and pecking at it, and it gives them something to do, and it just keeps them active, especially when the hen's on the nest. But I still like to keep pairs. I don't like to take the cockbirds out. I work full time. I can't mess about. I just end up with clear eggs or whatnot. I just haven't got the time to do it. In here we've got some young Saturnettes again. You know, they're looking quite nice. I haven't rung these yet, and people say, oh, they're perhaps getting a bit big. I probably need to ring them. I'll ring them this evening. I'll ring most of them in the evening, or when I get in from work. That way I can keep an eye on them, just in case the hen does decide to pull at the rings or anything like that and they get dragged out of the nest. I normally wait till they're this size. I can slip her on still with a bit of Vaseline or whatever. So these are ready to ring now, so I'll probably do that later on today. And then, like I say, I can check on her, and once I've seen that she's sat back on them a bit and everything's fine, that's okay. But if she did pull anything out, I can always put the bird back in or whatever and sort it out and warm it up. So we're not getting fed yet, but they look really healthy. They're about 6 days old, so happy with them. And yeah, if I go to work in the day and I've run them in the morning, the problem I'll get is if they get pulled out, they'll just chill over the day and that'll be their lot. So I'd rather, that's how I ring my birds, because I work full time. And if it comes to it, if I've missed a bird because it's too late or they're a bit big, I'd rather miss the ring up and put a split ring on it. I can make a note of it. I'm not one of these people that tries to ring them as soon as I think they're big enough to take a ring, because you just lose a lot of ring that way. They just come off, and then you don't notice, and then you haven't rung the birds anyway. We've got another bird here. She's on some chicks. They're 4 days old. Again, you know, it won't be long before they want feeding. So we've got 3 in there, 3 Satinets, I believe, and so that means they're hens because the cock's Saturnet and the hen is Isabel. So that tells me straight away, because when I ring them and when I put it in the book, I can say they're hens because they're all Satinets. They've got that pinky red eye and not the plum eye of the Isabel when they're young. So that's quite easy. So 3 hens in there. Hopefully in the next round we'll get some cockbirds out of there, which will be split, which will be Isabel's split for Satinet. She's quite a good cockbird, and I'm hoping his traits come through. So it'll be quite good for showing Isabel's. Yeah, that's it really. That's all there is. I'll try and do another video in a few weeks' time. Hopefully we'll start putting some youngsters in. A couple of weeks might separate the youngsters because they'll be out of the nest soon, them opals. We should have a few more fledging and a few more chicks hatched. But so far so good. It's it's happening. It's that start of the season where there's not chicks everywhere at the minute, but it's heading in the right direction. And what I'm really pleased with and what I'm looking for is the fact that everything's been reared that's hatched. That's really good. I had that last year. Obviously, my methods are working for me. My birds are rearing, and I'm not losing chicks. I lost one chick last year between hatching and molt. So that's anyway. To me, that's pretty damn good. If not, as well, a bit fortunate. You know, I wouldn't say that's the norm, but things are working. Okay, all the best, everyone, for the rest of the season. Speak to you soon.